Hi everyone, welcome. We're Penn American Center. I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. Thank all the Penn members who are here. It's not a great day, but it's not as bad as it was last week in Beijing when they announced the verdict and there were several dozen people, many of them our Penn colleagues, standing outside the courthouse on a much colder day. So anyway, thank you all for coming. We'll just turn this right over to Anthony Appiah, the president of Penn American Center. Thank you.
Well, let me join Larry in thanking you all for being here. As he said, on Christmas Day, a court in Beijing sentenced Liu Xiaobo to 11 years in prison and 2 years deprivation of political rights for exercising the right of free expression that he has not only under international law but under the Chinese Constitution. So that's basically why we're here. We're here to express and explain why we think this is an outrage. Great. To commit ourselves, to commit Penn and all our friends to working for Liu Xiaobo's release, and to urge everybody in this country and around the world who hears us to work with us to that end. You know, China is a civilization of amazing achievement, and we need to hear from China. But if the Chinese regime wants to be taken seriously, they have to learn to respect the basic human rights of their own people. We here criticize our own government when it doesn't do that, and we're just asking of them what we ask of ourselves. Tomorrow will in fact ring in the year of the 50th anniversary of Penn's activism on behalf of writers who face persecution because of their work. And we have defended many brave and distinguished writers over the years, and we're hopeful that if we keep up the pressure, we can add Liu Xiaobo to the list of those whom we have managed to help free. So as I said, he's been condemned to prison for 11 years for 7 published sentences. 224 Chinese characters. In the official verdict, the Beijing court cited the passages that they said were subversive. Some of them aren't full sentences, some of them are just phrases, and others are the titles of articles that he's written. 2 of those sentences come from Charter 08, a manifesto calling for democratic reforms in China, which he helped to write, and which has been signed by hundreds of brave Chinese men and women. And the other 5 sentences are sentences that he posted on the internet. So today we're going to read all those 7 subversive sentences, along with poems that Liu Xiaobo wrote during a term of 3 years of re-education through labor that he served in the late 1990s. And these will be interspersed with excerpts from the official verdict of the court that sentenced him on Christmas Day. We're proud to be standing here in solidarity with our fellow writer. As you'll see and hear, we have many writer friends here with us today. And as I say, we're proud to stand here in solidarity with him and with his family, and we're proud to be here to be able to call for his immediate release. And we ask all of you here, and anyone who hears this appeal, to join us in our campaign. And I want to end by saying particularly to Liu Xiaobo himself, old friend, we will not forget you. We will not rest until you are free. Thanks.
From Liu Xiaobo's 2006 article, The Many Aspects of CPC Dictatorship. The CPC is the Communist Party of China. Thus, all of the tricks used by the Communist Party of China are stopgap measures for the dictators to preserve the last phase of their power and will not be able to support for long this dictatorial edifice that is already showing countless cracks. I'm A.M. Holmes. I'm now going to read a short passage from the verdict of the Beijing Municipality First Intermediate People's Court, December 25, 2009. The investigation record of public security organs and material evidence photographs of December 8, 2008, prove that, relying on the testimony of witnesses, snow problem there. Public security searched Liu Xiaobo's residence at number 7 Jiakun Bank of China Dormitory, Building 10, and found and took into custody the tools that Liu Xiaobo used to write the documents and send them to websites: 2 notebook computers, 1 desktop computer, and 1 copy of a printed document, Charter 8, Request for Comments. The Beijing Municipality Networking Industry Association Forensic Electronic Data Center provided a judicial testimony opinion document proving that on December 13, 2008, a forensic examination of the data stored on the 3 computers authenticated the discovery of the electronic documents, the dictatorial patriotism of the Chinese Communist Party. Can it be that the Chinese people deserve only party-led democracy? Change the political regime by changing society? The many faces of the Chinese communist dictatorship, the negative effect of the rise of a dictatorship on world democratization, inquiring further into the case of the child slaves of the Black Kilns, and Charter 08. The records of Skype software on his computer contain multiple emails that he sent from November to December 8, 2008, containing Charter 08 and the Request for Comments document.
According to the Beijing No. 1 Intermediate People's Court, one of Liu Xiaobo's offending passages is from his 2006 article, The Negative Effects of the Rise of Dictatorship on World Democratization. In its verdict, however, the court did not actually quote any passages from this article. I'm Edward Albee. Liu Xiaobo wrote the poem Daybreak in 1997 while serving 3 years in a re-education camp. The poem is dedicated to his wife, Liu Xia. Daybreak. Over the tall ashen wall, between the sound of vegetables being chopped, daybreaks bound, severed, dissipated by a paralysis of spirit. What is the difference between the light and the darkness that seemed to surface through my eyes' apertures? From my seat of rust, if I can't tell if it's the glint of chains in the cell or the god of nature behind the wall, daily dissidence makes the arrogant sun stunned to no end. Daybreak, a vast emptiness, you in a far place with nights of love stored away.
From Liu Xiaobo's 2005 article, The CPC's Dictatorial Patriotism. Thank you. The official patriotism advocated by the CPC dictatorship is a fallacious system of substituting the party for the country. The essence of this patriotism is to demand that the people love the dictatorship, the one-party rule, and the dictators. It usurps patriotism in order to inflict disasters on the nation and calamities on the people.
From Liu Xiaobo's 2007 article, Further Questions About Child Slavery in China's Kilns. Since the Communist Party of China took power, generations of CPC dictators have cared most about their own power and least about human life.
I'm Jessica Hagedorn.
I'm Victoria Redel. We'll also be reading from the Christmas Day verdict sentencing Liu Xiaobo to 11 years in prison.
The on-the-scene investigation by the public security organ proves Beijing's Municipal Public Information Network Security and Supervision Officer, 1st Detachment, found and downloaded from the internet a document signed Liu Xiaobo entitled, "Can it be that the Chinese people deserve only party-led leadership, democracy?" As of December 23, 2008, this document has been published or republished on 5 websites and has had a total of 402 hits.
The investigating officer also found and downloaded from the internet a document signed Liu Xiaobo entitled "Change the Political Regime by Changing Society." This document had been published or republished on 5 websites and had a total of 748 hits.
The officer also found and downloaded a document signed Liu Xiaobo entitled "The Many Faces of the Chinese Communist Dictatorship." This document had been published or republished on 6 websites and had a total of 512 hits.
The officer also downloaded a document signed Liu Xiaobo entitled "The Negative Effect of the Rise of a Dictatorship on World Democratization." This document had been published or republished on 7 websites and had a total of 57 hits.
The officer downloaded and signed a document signed Liu Xiaobo entitled "Further Questions About Child Slavery in China's Kilns." This document had been published or republished on 8 websites and had a total of 488 hits.
The officer also downloaded from the internet a document entitled Charter 8. That document resided on the website with the domain name www.chinesepen.org, the Independent Chinese Pen Center. This document, as of December 12, 2008, had been published or republished on 33 websites, including 19 outside the borders of mainland China, and had a total of 5,154 hits and 158 replies. Charter 8 had, as of December 9, 2009, the signatures of 10,390 people. Happy New Year, everyone.
The Beijing Municipality Public Information Network Security and Supervision Office investigated Liu Xiaobo's emails, and as a result of that examination found that Liu Xiaobo's email mailbox is located outside the borders of mainland China. After using a password to get into that mailbox to check it, it was found that the earliest email sent from that mailbox was dated November 25, 2008, and that 30 of the sent emails included Charter 08.
From Liu Xiaobo's 2006 article, "Can it be that the Chinese people deserve only party-led democracy?" For the emergence of a free China, placing hope in the ruler of a New Deal is an idea far worse than placing hope in the continuous expansion of the new force among the people. I'm Don DeLillo. This is a poem called "Longing to Escape" by Liu Xiaobo, dedicated to his wife. Abandon the imagined martyrs. I long to lie at your feet. Besides being tied to death, this is my one duty. When the heart's mirror clear, an enduring happiness. A cat closes in behind you. I want to shoo him away as he turns his head, extends a sharp claw toward me. Deep within his blue eyes, there seems to be a prison. If I blindly step out, with even the slightest step, I turn into a fish.
From Charter 08, the December 10th, 2008 declaration calling for political reforms, greater human rights, and an end to one-party rule in China.
one-party monopolization of ruling privileges should be abolished. I'm Honor Moore, again from the verdict of the court. This court believes that the defendant, Liu Xiaobo, with the purpose of inciting the overthrow of our country's people's democratic dictatorship system and our socialist system, used the internet to distribute his document because of its rapid speed, great scope, large social influence, and the attention which the people pay to it. He wrote the documents and used the internet to publish them in order to slander and urge other people to overthrow our country's democratic dictatorship system and our socialist system. This conduct in itself constitutes the crime of incitement to overthrow state power. Moreover, he has been committing this crime for a long while, and the subjective evil caused is great. The published documents have been spread through links and republishing. People read them, and they have a bad effect. This is the crime of a major criminal and should be severely punished according to law. The defendant, Liu Xiaobo, for the crime of incitement to overthrow state power, is sentenced to prison for 11 years and deprivation of political rights for 2 years.
Also from Charter 8, we need to establish China's Federal Republic under the structure of democracy and constitutionalism. I'm E.L. Doctorow. Liu Xiaobo wrote the following poem in 2000, near the end of his so-called re-education through labor, that he received after calling for political dialogue between the Chinese government and the Dalai Lama of Tibet. The poem is dedicated to his wife. One letter. One letter is enough for me to transcend and face you, to speak. As the wind blows past, the night uses its own blood to write a secret verse that reminds me each word is the last word. The ice in your body melts into a myth of fire. In the eyes of the executioner, fury turns to stone. Two sets of iron rails suddenly overlap. Moths flap toward lamp, an eternal sign that traces your shadow. That's his poem. And I have to say that such events as this have been necessary for as long as I can remember. And PEN members marched around the Czech embassy to protest the jailing of Václav Havel. 20 years ago, we rose in judgment against the fatwa applied to Salman Rushdie. The attack is always directed to the creative mind, and when we take note, as we do today, it always seems to be snowing. Liu Xiaobo's country has a sorry record of artist intimidation. China supposes to lead the world into the future as superpower in the 21st century, but when it jails its people for their thought, it is mired in the past, with the ghosts of emperors and dictators and kings, and along with military thugs and theocracies like Iran's, that rigs its elections and shoots down its people in the street. The civilization of China cannot lead when its revolutionary government simply changes the style of despotism. It can't move forward when its poets and writers and artists, its thinkers and intellectuals are muzzled and silenced. Under such conditions, the genius of a nation withers and dies. Liu Xiaobo writes in the interest of a just enlightenment. That is not to slander or subvert or overthrow. It is to ask for constitutional realization, is to ask for a country true to itself. And that's all that Liu Xiaobo has done, and that's why we call for his release.
So I want to thank my colleagues very much for being here. I want to thank you for being here. And if you're if anybody in the press would like to talk to any of us, we'll hang around for a bit to talk to you, and then we're going to go down to the Chinese embassy, the Chinese mission to the UN, and see if they will accept a letter.